So you think by building the more houses will tackle the issues?
Not immediately, but when we actually tried pulling those levers, what we realized very quickly is that they were attached to nothing on the other end. The whole narrative, I'm bloody scared when I pick up the phone and go, put on my neck.
Welcome to the Oldham Green podcast. This is our first of hopefully many more to come. Our guest today is Fesl Reza-Khan, recently elected Green Party International Coordinator, co-chair and co-founder of Muslim Green, and he was a former general election candidate of Oldham East. Fesl, I met him about a couple of years ago at a protest outside MP Lucy Powell office, and since then we have done so many visuals and protests together, and the protest was against the genocide, ongoing genocide in Gaza. And actually Fesl is the one who got me into politics. So Fesl, welcome to the show. On behalf of Oldham Green Party, I would like to congratulate you for getting elected as international coordinator. I hope.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's amazing to be here.
All right.
My experience standing for the MP position, Oldham East and Saddleworth, was illuminating and enlightening. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
It was a very short campaign. I wish we'd had longer to campaign, but there's a lot of potential here.
Absolutely. So, Fesl, to start off with, I would like to dive into your journey to Green Party. So the question is, what inspired you to join Green, and from becoming a member, to becoming the international coordinator? How's the journey like, and what challenges you faced, and some of the achievements that you are most proud of?
So the journey started with a question: how can little old me, a small person in this huge global scheming system, how can I make a difference? Now, I just become a father when the October 7th attacks happened, and what I saw unfolding was horrific. And I'll be honest with you, it hit me quite hard personally. And as I watched children die and innocent people die, I thought, my goodness, I'm going to do something. Surely the MPs and the politicians will put a stop to this. So I protested like a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I realized very quickly that all they did was gaslight us, and they ignored us. And I realized I wanted to go beyond protest. And the only path beyond protest is politics. If the elected representatives are not going to listen to me, then I will go into their sphere, into their space, and take that over and become the decision maker. But what really shocked me was I grew up in this country believing that I was the king in this democratic system, that I held the reins of power. The levers of power were controlled by you, me, the electorate.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when we actually tried pulling those levers, what we realized very quickly is that they were attached to nothing on the other end. And the shock for me was that, my goodness, what if they actually come for me or my neighbor William, or my gay neighbor Richard, for example? What if they come for these people one day? What could I actually do? And that was the biggest wake-up call for me, how insignificant I am. And then through social media, my journey carried on, my education. So I've got a degree in international relations. I thought I knew the Middle East conflict,
Right.
but I didn't. I'd been misled, shall we say. The both sides, the normalized narrative. And I then thought, right, okay, I'm going to have to go back. I'll go back into the political field. I had been engaged in politics in my younger years, but then I carried on, like most people, with my own life. I thought, I've had enough of this. Punch and Judy show that they have.
Yeah.
And I looked at all the parties. I never ever considered the Green Party because the mainstream media makes us appear as we're just a bunch of oddballs and tree huggers. And that is part of the establishment's way of, keeping other voices and other interests out with the mainstream.
Yeah.
So when I looked beyond that caricature, I thought, right, okay, I read the policy on not only Gaza, but I looked at the other policies and I thought, oh my God, their manifesto is really, really compelling. So I tried making a donation. Now, if anyone knows and has made any donation to a political party, they'll bite your hand off. The Conservatives,
Absolutely.
they'll give you contracts in return, I'm sure. Labour, you can have Prime Minister dinner with Prime Minister. Lib Dems, I don't know, he'll do a political stunt for you. He'll jump out of a plane or whatever. The Greens, they turn you down. Not interested. They want to know who you are, where your money's come from. Especially if it's above, a large, because they rely on member donation. I thought, hold on 1 second. And I quickly realized, wait a minute, they're not beholden to lobbyists and rich, powerful interest groups. So quickly, I pressed the join button, and that was the first day of my journey.
Right.
And then you asked, how did I start the Muslim Greens?
No, one. I asked, how was your journey from the joining to becoming the international coordinator?
So very quickly, I thought, right, I'm going to go and leaflet. I'm going to try and make a real difference. I'm one of thousands of new people who've joined over the last 24 months, and they've all joined for various different reasons.
Yeah.
We've had.
I'm one of them as well.
Of course, and we
exactly,
and your listeners, I'm sure, thousands of them. It was something. It was either Gaza, the rise of reform, fascism, the ineffectual opposition by Labour. So it was a trigger, tipping point. Mine was, of course, Gaza as a father, and I took an interest. And what's incredible about the Green Party is the more you want to do, the more the work you put in, they just let you go with it. There's no gatekeepers, there's no power brokers, there's no hierarchy as such. You can really use your expertise. Now, I've got experience in the world of commerce and business investment, working for local government, military, banking, a whole plethora of sort of jobs I've done. And I've worked in different institutions from global banks to NATO. And that, I realized, hold on 1 second, I can really make a difference here. So then I started looking at different policy groups, and we have everything from international policy group to health and the health and well-being policy group. And that's how we make policy, rather than go to think tanks or lobby groups. I started taking interest in that, and my journey, first of all, the first thing I became was co-chair of the Manchester Green Party very quickly. And roughly that was about 2 months after we founded the Muslim Greens. Then that brought me into contact with national policy and national figures. I discovered the international group, the committee. And because I have a degree in it and lots of experience, I volunteered. I stood for election at conference, and I got elected. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But within 60 days, I was in Dublin, and the Green Party of England and Wales, we were leading, along with our partners, on a Gaza motion, declaring a genocide. And that was a huge achievement. So we changed our position internally and externally.
So internally we done the passed a motion on Gaza in our conference last year, recognizing its genocide, recognizing, supporting the BDS movement. So moving on, you are the co-chair and co-founder of Muslim Green, right? So what inspired you to found or to do basically to build Muslim Greens?
That was so I turned up at the first meeting at
Yeah.
the local Green Party in Manchester, and I was the only brown face in the room.
Yeah.
And I looked around and thought, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into?
Right.
Where's all the other diversity here? And there was an attendee on Zoom. Her name was Asma.
Right.
Asma Alam. And I think she was thinking the same thing. And afterwards, she told me, she said, I was going to leave, and then I spotted you. And then she reached out to me on social media, and we connected, and then we started thinking there must be other people, because a lot of us had come away from other parties. Traditionally, the Muslim community has been quite socialist in its outlook, because of the faith, etc. For us, accumulating wealth is a bit of a problem. So we're answerable to
Absolutely.
to our maker. That's our belief. So the more you have, the more you're going to have.
More responsibilities.
Yeah. So, and of course, it's in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s with the immigrants. Our parents, our grandparents, they had voted with Labour, and they'd been members of the trade union, etc. Because when they came in, they were in manual jobs. So they joined the unions, and it was a natural fit for them. But then Labour has changed, especially New Labour, 97, Tony Blair. He started it, and it became first appeared to be a centrist party, but it's really a neoliberal, quite a right-wing imitation of the Tories. So, but unfortunately, a lot of people didn't realise that, and the Muslim community became habitually tied to voting Labour. So the first aim was to tell the Muslim community, look, you have an alternative. There is a party here called the Green Party, and they are absolutely fantastic. They align so much better with not only the Muslim community, but I think most faith groups and most people, even if you don't have any faith, like you're agnostic or atheist, but as long as you do not worship profit and capitalism as your God, and you believe that there's something more, that life and the human experience is about these moments that we share with each other, about family, about communities, about neighborhood, and about sharing, and about caring for your fellow human beings, and making their minute, their day, their hours that little bit easier. If you believe in that, the Green Party is incredibly head and shoulders. It's a really different offering to the other parties, because it's the only party that doesn't just represent or prioritize a grouping, a group of people. Even with Labour, we represent the working class. Tories, we represent the upper class. Lib Dems are with the middle class. The Green Party actually says, no, we actually represent the planet. And whether you're upper class, middle or working, whatever, we all call this place our home. And this should be the common denominator and the overarching concern for all of us. And we've then aligned justice for the planet with social justice, and it's a really beautiful mix. It's far ahead of its time, I believe. So that's the Green Party, and we set up the Muslim Greens, and we've had incredible success. I mean, look, we brought a heck of a lot of votes. There's a lot of goodwill from organizations like the Muslim Vote, MCB, etc. They really are looking favorably on the Green Party, because they look at us, not just the Muslim candidates, but all Green candidates. They're like, you guys have got integrity. You've got principles. It's really hard to bribe you as well, unless it's like with a pack of seeds or something, So it's a vegan meal, but you are a very attractive proposition. So what that has resulted in is council seats.
Yeah.
So we've now got a whole bunch of councillor seats that would have been Labour. For example, in Hyndburn, a 32-year-old Labour seat, safe seat.
Yeah.
We took that win, I think 4 weeks of campaign, one leaflet. The word just went round.
That is impressive.
We took a seat on Lancashire County Council where we took out a very prominent Labour figure in Leeds.
Deputies in Leeds.
So Newcastle, Peterborough, Bristol. I mean, it's Kent. I mean, wherever there's the Muslim vote or they have a decent vote share, we've gone to them and said, look, this is our offer. It aligns with your belief of stewardship of the planet. How about you vote for us? And this is the perfect time because Labour has completely abandoned them.
Absolutely, you're right. And obviously Green represent the humanity along with the planet, because when you look after the planet, you look after everything within the planet, the humanity, the animals, because everyone has their own rights, and Green Party is here to serve every single living things in the planet. So moving on, EU International Coordinator. So is that because of your qualifications you chose to become an international coordinator, or was there something else led you to choose that particular role? And the other question is, if Green Party were to be the ruling party now, what does that role mean in practice?
So it wasn't qualifications solely that got me that position. It was my colleagues, they voted for me. Of course, they would have looked at my qualifications and my experience.
Why you were interested in that one?
Why I? So yes, because of my experience working internationally. I'm quite international in my approach. I've traveled and I really enjoy meeting people from different parts of the world and other cultures. So I thought that this looks interesting. I wonder what happens here. And I'll just explain to the listeners, the viewers, what the International Committee does. So they are our external interface with our European partners and global partners. The Green Party is very unique in a way. I think we're the only party that has a European and a national party. Other parties, for example, the Labour, the different socialist parties, they have a socialist grouping. The right-wing parties have right-wing groupings, etc., liberal groupings in the European Party. But we actually have a European Green Party. And that's comprised of everyone from the Germans, the Norwegians, the Italians, and of course us. Our role was diminished because of Brexit, and we've been sort of fighting on the back foot since then. But what this allows us to do is still have some say at the European level and at the EU level, because although we're not part of the EU, we can be part of the conversation and the process whereby the European Green Party will influence or change laws at the European level. And that's so good because hopefully one day when we are able to rejoin again, it won't be again cold turkey. We can go in having those established structures there.
Absolutely.
So and then globally it works similar as well. So we work with parties from Brazil to Uganda, because especially with the global South, and that's something I want to take forward a bit more, develop that strand of work.
And that's a really great vision, and hopefully you'll achieve that. So this international coordinator, does he get elected every year, or is it going to be 2 years, every 2 years, or is it every 4 years?
Mine is a 12-month role,
right?
But normally I think it's a 2-year role, but it was 12 months, just like the leadership and a lot of the positions, because last year, because of the the elections, the
Yeah.
general election.
Yeah.
We couldn't
Couldn't.
have these roles elected. Otherwise, it should have been last year. So they've done it this year, and then it'll be for 1 year, and then next year we'll have it, but it'll be for 2 years.
So, as an international coordinator, what is your vision for the resident in Oldham or UK as a whole, or even our community, our neighbor, international neighbors like people in Palestine, people in Congo, Sudan, Kashmir? What's your vision? What would you do differently to help the community?
So the biggest thing I want to do in this role is actually try and make the international committee's work relevant and relatable to people in Oldham.
Yeah.
And the world is interconnected, it's interdependent.
Yeah.
And I know people think, oh, what's that got to do with me? EU policy or wars abroad, what's that got to do with me?
Yeah.
Well, what it's got to do with us is this, and the hottest topic, immigration.
Yeah.
It didn't just come out of nowhere. It's because of our foreign policy, our involvement with our international partners abroad, and our foreign policy that creates and fuels immigration, not only through wars, but also economic policy, through global warming, climate change. All these things contribute, and this is what happens is immigrants turn up at our door. The best way I can put it is, there's a Lebanese saying, it said, they said our bread was bigger than yours, so we said, give us some.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. If we're going to hoard everything and burn the rest of the world down, we shouldn't be surprised when they come knocking on our door.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then there are other things as well, and of course there's knock-on effects, like our health service, like our economy. For example, our NHS, the Americans long had an eye on
our NHS,
trying to benefit from the privatization of it. They want it, opened up to their own pharmaceuticals, and I'm sure you've heard of the kind of bills they get $50,000 for a birth and all of this nonsense.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people who are looking at what we have with envious eyes, and we have to ensure that we can safeguard it. So so the people of Oldham, everything that happens globally, it happens here. I mean, we've just had the hottest summer, I think, for a long time, certainly that I can remember, and that's climate change, and I dare anyone to argue against that. I mean, it's there right in front of your eyes.
Absolutely. And again, this all has a knock-on effect in terms of how we live our life. For example, looking after others, because the basic things is when we do wars, when we do, like you touch on immigration because the result of conflict, basically, mainly most of the time. And then when you have result effect of the climate, the people living within, they got affected by it. So so let's fight for the better future.
Yeah, and it does come full circle, because my other message to the people of Oldham is, look, we might be just small cogs or insignificant people, but look what I've managed to do.
Yeah.
And just pick your leaders, your organizations, your parties, your representatives with care, with wisdom, because I couldn't have done what I've done in any other party.
Yeah.
It's only the Greens. There's a real empowering, supportive culture in this party.
Yeah.
And I've seen it, whoever wants to do something good, they really support it, elevate it, and not brought down, because the other parties are just generally interested in, I want to become elected or whatever. But here, it's almost like the best of us. We have to push them into positions of power or responsibility. So if anyone's listening in Oldham wants to get involved, please do so. Look me up, connect with me, connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get into the party, and whatever expertise you have, whether it's science and tech, health, transport, you will be able to make a difference from day one, and we need you.
No, absolutely. Green Party is a home for everyone.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Because every human being has a talent.
Yeah.
You may not know what your talent is, but as you go in the environment or say a certain group, you slowly identify what you can do, what you can involve, how you. As far as I understand, it's a human nature that want to help others.
Yeah.
And that's the instinct. And then if you don't know how to, you can get involved with the organization like Green and everything and find your place. I'm pretty sure you will find something
That's an interesting observation you made about human nature.
Yeah.
After all these years studying politics, watching it, observing and partaking in it, I've now understood. I've come to a different understanding of people and politics.
Yeah.
We're coming almost to the end of this whole left-right the spectrum, this traditional way of doing politics.
Yeah.
People aren't interested anymore in that, and this is almost sort of fighting ideological and intellectual battles of the 70s, 60s, of the last century.
Yeah.
What I've realized is now we're just left with two types of people who care and people who are selfish, and those are two roots of everyone's decision making. You tell me you tell me which party you're in or where you stand on certain issues, and I'll tell you which camp you'll fall into. And that left-right has now been replaced by up-down.
Up-down.
Those who've got everything, and the rest of us. And I used a term called global majority, which a lot of people understand as global location-wise.
Yeah.
But when I come to a place like Oldham, I realized, for example, a lot of the the white working class community here, they would probably I classed as global majority, because they've been absolutely shafted. And I think to myself, what hope is there if I was some 16-year-old white teenage boy growing up in somewhere like Sunderland, Kilmarnock, or a place like Oldham? What the heck is there for me? And no wonder people like the right-wing influences prey on such hopelessness.
No, absolutely. It's like there was a saying, if you want to see how the community is, see who the leader is. So like when you know the leader, you get some understanding of the community. But they just goes side by side. So you pick your best leader to show who you are.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So moving on, we touched on immigration a bit, but then what Green Party's approach to, because immigration is one of the major issues in UK or even in Europe. We always hear in news about the immigrations, and far right also used as their agenda to talk about. So what is the Green Party's approach to immigration, and how does it differ from different parties?
So the biggest difference is it's actually the paradigm. Yep. We're an international party.
Yeah.
We are pro-immigration. We believe in the story of human travel, human immigration. That has been the story of humanity from our earliest inception, coming out of Africa.
Yeah.
In terms of personally, for example, myself, I am a product and a son of immigrants.
Yeah.
My stepdad, I think he came here in the 60s. He wanted to come here for about 5 years, make enough money and go back and build himself a house or a better life. And he swore that's what he wanted to do. He's currently buried in Chadderton Cemetery. He never did, return. And he ended up making quite a successful business here. Paid a lot of tax, and definitely contributed to the system, not only his own lifetime, but also now through his kids. So And same with my mum. What amazing
mashallah.
mum she was. So that's the positive side, and that's what we believe in. Now, let's take it rationally. The demographics, there is a demographic time bomb.
Yeah.
Yep. Western countries, Western Europe, Japan, South Korea, America, we've always become victims of our own success. The last 80 years have given us this golden age of prosperity. It's never been, we've never had it so good for a politician. And what's that done is, people wanted to enjoy themselves and, do other things than just make babies. But that's left us with an aging population. If you look at sort of council budgets, the main two for almost all councils, I think 66% of the average council budget, in some cases even 70-80% of it, is going into adult social care and children's social care. These two areas. So we need to expand our tax base. We need more workers, etc. So immigration, our party views it as a positive. And eventually, we want the old nation-state system, the borders, etc. We want these to be things of the past, so that there's almost like a confluence, a political confluence of human interests coming together from different parts of the world, where things like human rights, economic prosperity, these things are shared, and challenges like climate change, etc., we can all take them on together. Now, I understand it from the other side of the coin as well, because I grew up in a very different England, different Oldham, and I absolutely loved it. So I have that nostalgia for that. I served in the forces, so I do understand that sense of the island fortress. And there were some really beautiful things, about growing up in that old community. The church bells ringing on a Sunday, snow falling on Christmas Day. People come around selling little holly plants on the door. The milkman dropping off glass bottles, gold silver top milk. At 5:30 in the morning, you can hear the clink. I genuinely love that, and I understand that. And I miss some of that, but again, that's been destroyed because of capitalism and this worship of the GDP. Growth in GDP has been prioritized over everything else, and I can understand people who are upset. I don't think everyone who's anti-immigration or wanting to vote for reform is a fascist, right-wing racist. Most of them are not. Most of them are good people. But the problem is, when they hear stuff on the media, about grooming gangs, fighting age men coming over in small boats, the whole narrative, I'm bloody scared when I pick up the phone and go, blow me neck. As the father of a little girl, as someone, a citizen of this soil, I don't want that. But then, of course, when you scratch it and dig a little bit deeper, you realize, wait a minute, okay, let's look at some of these immigrants. So there aren't any safe routes for them. Okay, where are they coming from? Libya, Iraq, etc. Hang on, these are incredibly rich countries. Iraq has the second largest oil reserves on planet Earth. After Saudi. Libya was probably the richest, per capita country before we decided to go in there. They had a population, I think, of 3.9 million, and the income was equivalent to a huge, first world country. So they had free housing, education, healthcare. What suddenly made these people decide to get on a dinghy? Because hundreds and thousands of them end up dying.
Taking a risk.
Why would that? Hang on, what's going on here? Why would you do that? And when I grew up before 2000, I hardly ever saw a headscarf, and I hardly ever saw anyone in this country who wasn't either from Bangladesh, Pakistan, or the Caribbean, or India. that's where they'd come from, either the Windrush generation or the 60s, 70s factory workers.
Yeah.
So what happened? Of course, we know what happened.
Yeah.
The neoliberal plan attacked 7 countries in 5 years, and here we are. So that's what creates it. And then if you think about it, if I was in a war zone and I've got absolutely no prospects, of course I'm going to try and do something, and I'll probably go. So for example, if Britain was suddenly laid to waste and we had to leave, and there was no safe way out of here, I'd take a kayak or whatever I could to cross the channel, and I'd leave my wife and daughter here and promise them, look, let me get there and I'll call you. That's what you do in desperate times.
Desperate measures.
And in Second World War, when our armies were stuck in Dunkirk, we sent over every seaworthy naval craft, from small fishing boats to to sailboats, whatever we could, to bring our young men home. So we do need a solution to this, because if those countries had peace, I suspect we'd actually have the opposite problem. We'd be begging for immigration. We'd be begging them to come. So sometimes I almost think, what? Maybe we're doing these wars just to fuel the immigration, to solve that problem. But
it's again, it's like one thing is like probably easy for the communities. Like when you think about immigration, probably do a bit of research, because no one will be happy to live in their families born and coming to this country. It's obviously separation. They go through so many difficulties, and it's not easy to live apart from your family. So it's again the media, right? You're talking about the narratives. So if we can change the narrative in a more of a positive direction, then we probably can see the immigration differently. So what one advice would you give to the community, or the people who is our viewers, when they hear about immigration?
In terms of when you say one advice, what?
When they hear about immigration, some people may get worried about, like you said, some people get concerned over they're going to come take our jobs and etc. What one advice would you give them when they hear about immigration?
The root cause of immigration is injustice abroad. Those people who are coming here, they've got more in common with you than our own elites. Our own elites have more in common with third world elites. Because if I was sat in some third world banana republic, I have a leader sat there, some dictator, or whoever is sat, whichever country I'm in. If I speak up there, if I want to practice my democratic rights, from LGBTQ, from any minority, I don't stand a chance. The only way really is to get the heck out of here. But here's the thing: people do try and topple those dictators. People do try and effect change. But what happens is that small grouping, that's dictator plus his clique and his armed forces, they can only survive with Western backing. They mostly are either our proxies or one of the other superpowers' proxies. We give them financial succor through banking facilities in London, New York. We give them, and their wives come shopping here. They come for hospital treatment, medical treatment here. Their kids go to university here, Oxford or Cambridge. And if they ever need your weapons, of course, we sell them weapons. We train their forces. So without our enabling and facilitation, those dictators would be toppled, and we've seen that over and over again. In fact, we've actually often done the opposite. From Colombia to Venezuela to Iran, we've actually toppled democratically elected leaders who had their country and their people's interests at heart. We toppled them because they weren't our interest. They weren't in our interest. So that's what I would like to say is, look, join the Green Party, go meet an immigrant, Go speak to him. Go speak to the one thing I would do in Oldham, the one thing when I was campaigning as well, I noticed is that we have become estranged. I know Keir Starmer said, it's an island of strangers, and he got a lot of flack for it, rightly so. However, there was some truth in that. I do see, communities not interacting with each other. If I go up to Upper Mill, Saddleworth often, because I love walking, and if I'm walking down the high street, or if I pop into a pub, to grab some orange juice or to use the toilet to change my baby's nappy, I'll get a lot of odd looks because it's not usual to find, and vice versa. I don't see many white people walking down at a Park Road in Glodwick. And what we need to do is use groups like the Green Party or Oldham Multi-Faith Forum, the local church, the local mosque, to bring us together. Whatever community assets we have, use them, and to try and help each other and watch what happens. That's something I would really, love to. And there's lots of things. We desperately need a green councillor. If I was a green councillor here, there'd be a community credit union set up, using the church and the mosque as a base. To make sure that there's no, we get rid of loan sharks. There'd be a much better food bank system, because there's assets there that we are not using. There'd be homework classes after school. There's a whole bunch of things that we can do, that affluent communities do for their kids and their neighbors that we don't do.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So again, it's a building the bridge all Green Party is about. So we need to find a way to work together, community, look them rather than look the people as a human being rather than their race. Because when you get rid of the barriers of racism, like you are this color. And
how do you do that? How do you look at someone as a human, Shams, if you've been told that this is potentially a potential grooming gang member, or a immigrant, or he's taking your job off you, how do you humanize?
Well, the best way is getting involved with activities with them. That's like we set up this type of community group we're talking about, and that's where we get to know each other. When for example, if you are working in an organization and you have a colleagues, a white colleague, and you're gonna interact with them. When you interact with them, you get to know them more about their culture, their beliefs, and etc. And you become friends eventually. So these are the things set up. I think in any community, we need any town or city, we need that set up, like this type of organization where community get together for any reason, but just make a reason and get together, and that's how you build a bridge. Without, the communication is. We always say in the organization, communication is the key.
But why would I, as a reform voting white person, want to be anywhere near you?
That's a good question. You tell me. You are the international coordinator.
No, it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, okay, look, so the answer is this. I don't go to them as a Muslim, as a brown person, or whatever. At the most basic level, I'll go to them as a father, as a son, as a supporter of a football club. Not going to mention, in case the Latics fans lynch me. But these identities, you see, how the right-wing media are poisoning us is they're using identity supremacy. They'll take one identity and say, this is the sole lens, the sole identity that matters. And any supremacist will do that. For example, I mean, me as a Muslim, Muslim extremist, ISIS, Taliban, etc., they do the same thing. They go, the only thing that matters is whether you are a Muslim and whether you're our kind of Muslim or not. And they'll keep splitting until they get a drone, a robot. And it's a standard classic far right tactic. And the same thing, football fans, Millwall fans, the only thing that matters is whether you're a Millwall fan or not. I don't care if you're black, brown, whatever. As long as you've got the Millwall jersey, you are one of us. So when you use that sole singular identity, the monochromatic approach to what it means to be a human, that's when it becomes dangerous. And I've always been sort of wary of the man who approaches me with just the one book, or having read one book. How I would overcome it is by stressing, actually, there is so many things that connect us. I'm an Oldhamer, I'm an Englishman, I'm a Brit, I'm an athletics fan, I'm a father. You see what I'm saying? There's so many. So that's when you start humanizing, and that's the way we need to reverse what's happening in the right wing media. But also, there's what's scary is the social media, the tech companies, and now with the introduction of AI, it's like right wing hate is now about to be put onto steroids. It's about to be supercharged in a way that you and I don't think we can't even comprehend. I mean, Musk, how on earth did he get away with basically inciting a revolution or an uprising against a democratically elected government? Much as I dislike Starmer or Labour, unfortunately, they have a democratic mandate, and there's no way I'm going to be shouting, "We fight or we die," or throw Starmer and the government. That's insurrection. That's criminal.
Yes,
that's anti-democratic. How on earth did he get away with that?
All this again, the media and power of tax and everything.
To my next point, I know I've only been in the role 2 weeks. But some amazing news. Our international committee, the Green Party of England and Wales, has formulated and tabled in a very short period of time a motion at the European Congress, which will take place in Lisbon, to regulate AI and AI's role in pushing far-right narratives onto vulnerable adults and young people. So, and we've been, our motion will be one of 4 out of the dozens and dozens that were put forward. Yes.
So is that motion going to be in this upcoming conference in October?
In December. It will be in December.
In the European one.
In the European Green Party Congress. Will take place in December in Lisbon. It's the 40th Congress. And we, together with our French sister Green Party, are leading on it. And again, that's because the French and ourselves have expertise in AI. And yesterday I got an email from the Norwegian saying, actually, we've also got experts in AI. We'd like to get involved. So that momentum's building.
Inshallah. And that will be really brilliant. Obviously, it has a benefit to it, but sometimes it's scary as well. AI, and obviously it's need regulation surrounding it when it's come to politics and other things they get involved in, and pretty much everyone should be trained with it and should know how to. So use of AI is one of the things you need to know how to use it, and the regulation behind it, that's very key. Because otherwise you don't want to rogue AI or something. Exactly. So one of the thing I've noticed around this in UK, even outside the UK, is a homelessness. It's obviously different topic from immigration, but it's again kind of related to international issues, to local issues, kinds of link. It's been rising across the country, homelessness. How would Green Party would address this issue both locally and nationally? Because like if you go in any road in any town, you see quite a lot of homelessness, and that's it's increasing in a large number.
In one sentence, we'll build more. There's lots and lots of policy initiatives. I've worked in housing, in housing policy for a local authority. It's a subject area that I really understand and know. We sold off our family silver. The housing stock of this country, starting in the 80s with the Conservative government and then over successive government through right to buys. We got rid of that and we stopped building. That was a strategic error, together with the privatization of other utilities and other assets like the gas company, the telecoms, etc. These were not in the gift of any government to privatize. These were generational assets, and you don't sell off the family silver. Ask any aristocrat that. So once we did that then this was going to happen, and the only way to reverse it is levying property taxes on landlords, on mansions, etc., and using that income to start buying up on the open market the cheapest properties, and bring them up to standard, and we become the landlords once again. And then also putting maybe a legislation in saying any council house that was previously sold and the right to buy, if it comes back on the market again, the local authority or the public purse will have first refusal to purchase that, and then we just build. We need to build. There's lots of brownfield sites, land, properties, etc. that need to be brought back into use.
Right. So you think by building the more houses will tackle the issues?
Not immediately, but in the longer term, yes. That's the only sustainable solution. We build, green housing. We've had this in the 20s. We had it in the interwar years. We had it in the post-war, 50s. So we've had house building booms, and we need another one. That's the only way I can think of.
One of the things I'm like, okay, is it just only because of the house or homelessness could be due to other factors like income? They may not have the proper jobs or the right skill to get a job, because most of the homeless, they either they don't have a job or anything. So is it not connected with both of them go side by side?
Absolutely. Look, we've got an entire generation that's been sent to university, and they're going to come out with jobs. What kind of jobs? Retail assistant at Next, barista at Costa. They've got a mountain of debts. And I think there's a book on it. I think it literally is called Bullshit Jobs. And the author basically said, these are sort of made up jobs. These aren't jobs like, they're not vocations or careers that were existed in the past, like our parents had or the boomer generation benefited from. These are just minimum wage dead end jobs. So of course, but there's a correlation and an interrelationship with that and the lack of housing stock. But the other heart of it goes back to the end of community, family and community. When that's been ripped out, because look, if you have, for example, if you become homeless for some reason, what's the first thing you'll do?
Well, first thing, I'll reach out to your families.
Right.
Exactly.
You'll call and whatever. And this is the problem, that whole safety network, this whole social network. They replaced it with a welfare safety net. And now when that's been diminished and run down, there's no family or a community network left, to take up the slack.
Right. So looking at the time, I'll just go ask the last question at the moment. So this is different. This question is about your faith. How your faith influenced your decision to be part of Green Movement and to advocate for its values?
I mentioned earlier in the conversation, my faith tells me I just have stewardship of this planet. I don't lord over it. I'm just a passenger. I'm just a traveler, passing through. And also, my faith holds me responsible for my neighbors and people around me. So, for example, my next door neighbor, if he or she is hungry, I will be questioned. Whether they keep it quiet, it's my job to go and knock on and find out. And whatever I have to do, I need to find out, make sure that my neighbor is not in need, or if they need anything. Yep. And then what I have to, pass on. The sustainability, passing on to the next generation. All of these things, not wasting things, all of these are hard baked into not only, I would say, my faith, but I think most faiths and and people's beliefs. A lot of people in the Green Party, although they don't have faith, but they believe, I suppose, ecology and environmentalism is as close as they have to having faith. So they have the same, so we're very well aligned. And that has been a really eye-opening discovery.
Yep, that's brilliant. Thanks, Fesl. So that brings us to end of our very first episode of Oldham Green Podcast. A big thank you to Fesl Reza-Khan for joining us and sharing his journey and his vision. Thank you, Fesl. We hope you all enjoyed listening to us, and you will join us for many more episodes. And please do share and subscribe to the podcast, and let's build a better future together. Thank you.